Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production, and in this video I'm going to be giving you quite a sizable, I think, Doctor Who Blu-ray collection update. So to speak, there is also some Doctor Who DVDs in there, and then a bonus sci-fi horror-esque comedy 4K goodness at the end for those that like that sort of thing. For those of you that have been following my videos recently, this is the first video using my Panasonic GH4 with my Synco lavalier mic. I have the camera set on relatively basic settings for now until I get to grips on how the camera works. I've used the instruction manual that actually came with the boxed those of you who've seen my previous video, the boxed the lavalier mic to set up the GH4. They actually have some presets for a GH5, so I'm using those same presets for the GH4. So we'll see how things go, and I'm loving this setup, guys. It's good to be back. That's all I'm going to say. It's good to be back. Good to have this setup back. I've got a screen, got wireless mic back. It's good to have it all back. I do have with me a nice cup of coffee that I made from my coffee machine downstairs. Please feel free to get your own drink or beverage of choosing, and let's get into the show. So those of you that have been following my recent videos, I've decided to pare down my collection a little bit and set off some stuff that, quite frankly, I haven't touched for years, probably not going to touch, and they just sit there collecting dust. So I decided to sell a lot of it to my local CEX, and as a result of doing that, I have ended up with a number of bits and bobs, shall we say, that are definitely Doctor Who related. So the first thing I'm going to go over, I just said to get out of the way, but I didn't really mean it like that, is the DVD box set, which I think is the first series of Doctor Who. It's called The Beginning. So this is the first 3 serials with William Hartnell, originally broadcast in 1963, I do believe. The reason why I got this is because, if you don't know, all of Doctor Who, Classic and New Who, Torchwood, Class, Sarah Jane Adventures, everything is now on BBC iPlayer. Bar one serial, which is An Unearthly Child, because basically Anthony Colburn's surviving son is deciding to be a bit of a TWAT and is not giving BBC the streaming rights to that serial, basically. So the only way you can currently view that serial, you can still view it on BritBox as far as I'm aware, but the other way is of course on DVD, because the BBC secured the DVD or the media rights, these kinds of media rights, to The Unearthly Child years ago. So we have this nice little set here. This contains An Unearthly Child, The Daleks, we'll talk about more in a moment, and The Edge of Destruction. 3 original serials. I have watched The Daleks twice now. I've watched it on BBC iPlayer once when I was off for a couple of weeks around my birthday, and I watched it again in colour because they've recently colourised it, and on that night I have pre-ordered the Blu-ray steelbook of the colorisation of The Daleks, which is releasing on February the 17th, so that's pre-ordered right now, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I have to say, I am looking forward to it, but the main reason for this is An Unearthly Child, which can't be found anywhere else, unfortunately, online, or BritBox for now. But how long are BritBox going to have it before Colburn Senior decides to get involved with that? But that's the main reason why. I've heard it's not necessarily the best story of the Classic Who era, but hey, completionist wise, and it's the 60th anniversary right now, you've got to have where it all started. And if you're going to collect Classic Who, then you've got to have the original. So that's that. We'll put that to one side for now. The next kind of series that, of Blu-rays that I end up acquiring was all of this. So this is part of Doctor Who The Collection, which is a series of box sets the BBC are releasing of Classic Who. At least that was supposed to be Classic Who. They seem to be changing it somewhat now, and it seems to also involve New Who as well. In other territories, they've released the Jodie Whittaker collection, they've released the David Tennant collection, and they've also recently released the 1 to 4 remasters. More on those in a moment, in which seem to, in some territories, hold the moniker of the collection. So I'm a little confused exactly what the BBC are playing at with this. But I got 3 of these from my local CX. I travelled a bit further afield to get this one, which was season 8, and then my other CX that's local to me had that in stock. So I'm really happy. Let's show them up in a bit more depth. So we have Doctor Who season 23, which is a Colin Baker one, and this is the one that features the Trial of a Time Lord. 14 episodes of that. We then have season 8, John Pertwee series. There we go. We then got season 12, which is a Tom Baker series. There we go. Very cool. We then got season 19, which is a Peter Davidson series. We then have season 18, which again is a Tom Baker series. So between these two, I have the regeneration from Tom Baker into Peter Davidson. Very happy about that. And I do believe between this one and I've got season 24 downstairs, which I've already shown you guys, I've got the regeneration from Colin Baker into Sylvester McCoy. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these packaging wise, but they are in a slipcase like this. They got a standard jewel case, so kind of a thicker Amaray case on the inside, and you've got all of the discs like so. These are out of order, thank you CX. These are out of order, but then each one of these you get a little leaflet. You get a little leaflet, and this is basically an episode guide. Yeah, and also details some of the special features that are on each of the discs, and just goes over sort of overall what this set is all about. They all come with 5.1 audio. More on that in a moment. We'll talk about that in a bit more depth in a moment. A long story short, it's not the best, to be honest, but it's there if you want it. They do have the original mono audio for a lot of these. And a lot of these actually also contain some kind of audio drama of some description. So if you're into some of the audio drama, some of them contain some of the comics. The extras on these are pretty damn good. I actually watched part of an extra that was on, I think it's on this one, maybe on season 20, which I've got downstairs, which is Peter Davidson and a couple of the companions that he had during his run go on a car trip from somewhere in the UK to Holland. I think it's Holland. Because part of his episodes was shot in Holland. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. We'll watch part of it. Really enjoyed that. So the next thing I'm going to update you guys on is this, which is the Blu-ray set that was released a number of years ago that compiled series 1 to 7 of Doctor Who in one big set like this. Now, this set did get a lot of controversy surrounding it around the time, and the reason for it is because the first 4 seasons, if you didn't know, were not originally filmed in HD, nor broadcast in HD. So when this came out and people realised that the first 4 were not in HD, things shit hit the fan a little bit. Unfortunately, in America, this was not a cheap set, going for $300 to $400. Nowadays, it goes for a lot more than that because it's become a bit of a collector's item. But back then, it was not a cheap set. And when people found out that part of it was potentially a scam, they were not best impressed. So the BBC have set out to rectify that issue by releasing the remasters of the first 4 series. I have watched many videos on those, and most people are saying if you already have Blu-rays previously, don't buy these new ones. The contrast is maybe a bit better in some scenes. The brightness is maybe a bit better in some scenes, but overall it's not worth it, basically. So I decided to go an alternate route and pick this up, since I had when I took all my stuff down to CX, I had an over £400 voucher. So I decided to pick up this. This did cost me £92, not a cheap investment nowadays. But yeah, it contains everything from Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant and Matt Smith's era. It literally finishes the season before, or the season of Matt Smith's generation. They all come like this. Again, I'm not going to get every single one of them out, and it contains the specials as well. So that's the first season. They do have really newly commissioned art at the time for for the covers, and of course each one is just a standard Blu-ray case, and they each contain a leaflet with the episode listing on the back. And again, you get to see that new art on a leaflet, a little mini poster, if you wish to think of it that way. But actually a really nice set. And something else I was going to say, yes, on these, by the way, I really like the art on these. Is it Lee Binding that does the art on these? It might say on the back, art by whoever. Doesn't actually say on the back. I was hoping it would. But yeah, I believe it's Lee Binding that did the art of these. Absolutely beautiful. One of the reasons why I've wanted to collect these is just the art is astounding, in my opinion. Let's pop this back on, and that's the back that has a screenshot from each of these series, a little blurb on the back, and you've got these Gallifreyan symbols around the outside. Lovely little set, and if you can find it for a decent price, I would recommend picking it up. From season 5 onwards, they are in from the specials, sorry, onwards, they are in HD, but the first 4 are remasters or upscales. They're upscales in the newly remastered set that the BBC have just released, so they're upscales no matter how you buy them. So I went that route. I mean, brand new, the 1 to 4 sets like 60 quid here anyway, and that was £92. It was originally £82, but it went up in price literally overnight before I went down and got it. So these things happen. So the next thing I end up getting, I'm trying to remember which one I got first. I think it was this one I got first. This is actually a Christmas present from someone special. It is season 22, another Colin Baker series in the limited edition packaging. Managed to get the limited edition packaging for this one. Very happy to have this. Has the 2 Doctors, which actually stars Patrick Troughton, and I'm beginning to get into Patrick Troughton quite a bit, so I'm glad that I've got a you know, something that has Patrick Troughton later on. This one, if I remember correctly, this one, is it this one that has a audio episode? I know what I'm about to show you has an audio episode, but this might as well. A Blu-ray trailer, special mini episode of the Daleks. Not really sure. Anyway, besides which, it has a behind the sofa 6 new episodes with all-star lineup and Classic Who guests making documentaries. I mean, these are loaded with special features, but again, absolutely beautiful in that limited edition packaging. If I take this off, you can see the back there. That, of course, is a reference to when the Chameleon circuit went awry. The Doctor tried to fix it, and it went a little bit haywire. And so we have, is that a clock? No, it's like a tombstone memorial kind of thing. So there we go. It's a bit of a reference to that. The next thing that I got before the actual other thing I want to show you is this. And this was a bit of a blind buy. All these are blind buys technically, because I haven't seen any of them. But this I kept seeing in my local CX each time I went down there. I was thinking, should I get it? Should I not get it? So because of the my camera that I'm currently using, I ordered it from CEX and it didn't come with a charger originally. It now has come with a charger. It took them 2.5 weeks to finally send this to me. So because of that delay, they sent me a £10 voucher as an apology. So with part of that £10 voucher, I decided to pick up this, which is Doctor Who, Fury of the Deep. It's a Patrick Troughton story. It's one of those animated ones they've had to reanimate, or reconstruct, sorry, because the original footage is lost. They only had the audio. I actually watched this last night, night before, whenever it was. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I mean thoroughly enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. This episode contains it all. It's very The Thing-esque in a sense. It has intrigue, it has deception, horror in it. It really is a good episode. And this is a bit of a spoiler, but of course it is classic Who. It also sees the departing of one of the Doctor's companions. So it really does have everything in this story. Really well animated with this 3-disc set. You get the animated episodes 1 to 6 episodes in this serial. You get it in black and white. You get it in colour, and then you get a bonus disc. Each of the discs are loaded with special features. I'm going to read some of those out to you. So you got episodes 1 to 6 in both colour and black and white, audio commentaries for all 6 episodes, production subtitles, surviving footage. You do get some of the footage that they has survived in this set, and you can look through it and watch it, and it's kind of interesting to see. This one has... This is the one, I think, with the audio drama. Yeah, the slide audio drama. So that could be quite interesting. And it also contains some documentaries and stuff, and how, of course, they reanimated it, reconstructed it, and what have you, to what it's become. Really enjoyed this, actually. Really enjoyed this. There are a few of these standalone releases that have been released as they've been reconstructing and animating some of the older episodes. I'm really interested in picking more of these up, and this is one of the reasons I'm really getting into Patrick Troughton now. This is a really good series, and I'm actually now watching The Power of the Daleks. I'm watching that bit by bit, and I'm really getting into, as I said, Patrick Troughton as the Doctor. Now for the bonus sci-fi related thing at the end, and it is kind of falling apart. I need to glue it back together, just haven't gotten around to it yet. It is the 4K release of Ghostbusters The Ultimate Collection. This came out a couple of years ago when Afterlife came out. This went for a really pretty penny back in the day, then went out of print and went way up in price. I found this in my local CEX for about £120, which is actually not bad considering this goes for quite a bit more online, depending on where you can find it. The British version, the UK version, is not as good as the US version, but hey, it is a pretty damn good set. If I take off this plastic outing and we take off the J card, wraparound, whatever you can call it, you have a facsimile of a ghost trap. At the back here, you've got this little hole here. You just put your finger in here, you pop it up, and these are actually magnetized. They're held together by a magnet. And on the inside, you've got each of the 4K jewel cases. You've of course got Ghostbusters 1 on 4K. The only thing is, in the UK, these don't come with slip cases unless I've been gypped, and the person that traded this into CEX didn't trade it in with the slip cases. I haven't actually looked at many unboxings of this UK wise. I have looked at quite a few US unboxings. I may look at one side to see if I got gypped on that one, but it is what it is. Anyway, Ghostbusters 1, you have both the 4K and the Blu-ray in each of these discs. I have to say, I still like the look of a 4K standard jewel case like this. They just look really premium. So we then have Ghostbusters 2. There we go. And the back there. And of course you get the 4K and the Blu-ray. The other thing you get, oh, if we can actually, is Afterlife. There we go. I remember when Afterlife came out and these sets were being released, it was actually cheaper at one point to buy one of these sets than it would have been to buy Afterlife by itself, because Afterlife, when it came out on 4K, when it came out, was like £30–40 here in the UK, I seem to remember, and you could buy these sets for about £30–40, and it would include Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I don't know whether it included the 4K, whether it just included the Blu-rays of those. It seemed a bit weird to me. But anyway, you have, of course, the 4K of Afterlife and the Blu-ray of Afterlife. Next thing you get are special features Blu-rays. And again, this is absolutely packed with special features. That's the back. And the last thing you get, and this is actually quite sought after, is you get a reprinting of an old book called Making Ghostbusters. This edited by Dan Shea. I was like screenplay and dialogue and script and what have you. Yeah, so you get this basically. It's a reprint of a now very much out of print book that goes for quite a pretty penny in places, and you get that nicely included in this set. Where this differs from the US set is the US set has a light on the inside. So if I take all of these out, on the inside there you've got the Ghostbusters logo. There we go. And on the US one it lights up basically. So when you press this or raise this up, it lights up. There's a sensor. If you put your hand in there, it lights up. Pretty cool. Some people have found that it doesn't last very long. It dies quite quickly, but it's a cool thing. And the jewel cases have slip covers that are really nice. I really like the jewel covers. One of the reasons why I kind of impulsively went back down to my CEX the day that I went down there to buy some Doctor Who stuff, I went back to buy this and then discovered that they don't have the slip covers. Again, I don't know if they've been gypped or not. It is what it is at the end of the day. So basically what I'm trying to do with my collection is I'm trying to buy things I know I'm going to watch again and again and again, and I can just watch and enjoy again and again and again. And Ghostbusters is something I can quite easily put on and, you know, the time disappears. In fact, I was testing these out, put on Ghostbusters 1, next thing I know I've watched all of Ghostbusters 1 again. So that gives you an idea of how watchable Ghostbusters is for me personally. So I actually prefer the second one personally. That's because I watched it more than I did the first one growing up, and I'm actually looking forward to watching Afterlife for the first time because I haven't actually seen it. And of course we have, is it called The Frozen Empire? Is the next one coming up, which seems to be getting a lot of traction online, so I'm looking forward to that one. So yes, this has been a bit of a, you know, an epic oh, not the camera, bit of an epic update. Various sci-fi Blu-ray and DVD goodness, bit of 4K thrown there for good measure. Yeah, so basically, long story short, I'm now actively collecting Doctor Who Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff. I am looking out for the Peter Cushing films, because they have been released in 4K, because they were actually shot on the film. My local CX did have them. They've now sold out, unfortunately, so I might have to order them online or something. The next couple of months I am buying a load of board games, so the Blu-ray and DVD collection will probably have to sit, you know, take a back seat for a little bit. I am thinking in the new year maybe of taking down some more stuff and seeing what I can get with that. So until next time guys, please take care, and as always enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.